I just float with it. Fuck what you did, I'm at your throat with it. You can learn something, take a note with it. Dedicated my life, I took an oath with it. For the blood of my brothers, we don't do no switching. I run with who I run with, ain't no clicking. Try me, do you done with no decision. Lead a scene like a Mack truck with 4 collisions. Polls everywhere, but they ain't gon' vote dissing. Coming at you live and direct, I don't do no dissing.
Alright, Shalom Israel, Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Baraka Thumb to all the brothers, Yahweh Shema Allah Thumb Shem Yahshua to all the sisters. Just a quick sound check before we begin. How's everybody doing? Hope y'all is doing to Wab, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to Real Time Revelation. Hope y'all is all doing good. Alright, for those of you who are new to this show, this is Real Time Revelations. This is a show I do live on TikTok every Monday and every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. UK time. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all tune in. Ate the water for Shalom to Sandra, who just followed the channel. If you are watching and you haven't followed the ISUPK UK page, make sure you drop us a follow. You know what I'm saying? Not only do I come out with these lives every Monday and Thursday, but we also dropping content on the TikTok regularly. You know what I'm saying? Most High in Christ, the water to Trending Gal, the water to everybody who's joining. No sweat. Now, tonight's topic, you know what I'm saying? Tonight's topic is just, you know, what's going on in the state of the world right now, in the state of the UK. What's going in between you know, Russia and Ukraine, NATO and Russia. You know, you can see, for anybody who's been paying any attention to the news, or that anybody who, you know, knows anything about the Bible, they know that World War III is, you know, it's at hand. It's gonna be here real soon. The thing is just escalating and escalating more and more until bombs start dropping. They're already dropping, you know what I'm saying, regular, non-nuclear bombs, but you know, the Bible prophesies about nuclear warfare. All right, nuclear bombs dropping, the type of bombs where, you know, a bomb drops and you don't even have have time to, you know, you get burned alive in an instant, and you just, your eyes melt in your sockets. This is the type of war that's coming to this earth. All right, this is the type of war that's prophesied in the Bible. All right, now the first thing we're going to do, we got kind of 2 topics to go over about what's going on in Russia. All right, now the first I'm gonna go over is to do with Storm Shadow. Let me see, has anybody heard of anybody in the chat? Have y'all heard of Storm Shadow? Does anybody know what Storm Shadow is? Let me present that question to the chat. Y'all let me know if y'all are familiar with Storm Shadow and what's going on with that whole situation. Because Putin is not very happy with Storm Shadow. I see a sister says no. Okay. Let me see if anybody else. All right, no sweat. Let me break down what Storm Shadow is. Storm Shadow is the name of the missiles, right? It's the name of the missiles. I believe it's UK created, or it's created by Britain, and it uses US like targeting system, right? So it can't work. Basically, the British created it, but it can't work without the US like targeting system, right? Now, the US and the UK supplied these missiles to Ukraine, and they've used them against Russia. Now, Putin, prior to, you know what I'm saying, UK and US allowing these missiles to be used, Putin specifically, you know what I'm saying, warned about this thing of being, this type of thing being used, and warned that if other countries are to get involved, he's going to treat this as essentially an act of war, right? And also prior to that, very notably, he changed his wording for what allows him to use to resort to nuclear warfare, right? I believe it's called, let me look it up. It's called Doctrine of something, but it essentially lowers a threshold that will allow him to use nuclear warfare, right? So now there's less that needs to happen before he can resort to, you know, bringing out the big guns against who we warned against, right? Against the UK and against the US, right? Let me let me get the name of it, just so y'all don't think I'm, you know, it's his nuclear doctrine, right? He changed his nuclear doctrine to which is essentially means that I'm just got a quick Google search on it right now. I'm gonna share this for y'all. You know what I'm saying, y'all who don't know about it. Okay, let me see if I can make it bigger on the screen. I guess more refined on the screen. Just lower this here. Okay, Russia's threat doctrine. On 19th of November, so very, very recently, right? This is but a few days ago. It says Russia officially adopted a new nuclear weapons doctrine announced in September. The new policy states that Russia could launch nuclear weapons in response to an attack on its territory by a non-nuclear armed state backed by a nuclear armed one, right? Now you is very specific word, and you think of, okay, well, who's the non-nuclear armed state that he might be referring to? The non-nuclear armed state is referring to is Ukraine. He can use, you know what I'm saying, with this new policy, he can use nuclear warfare against Ukraine, right? And it says a non-nuclear armed state backed by a nuclear armed one. Your nuclear armed one would be those who are supporting Ukraine. That's US, which we all know is armed with nuclear warfare, and the UK is also armed with nuclear warfare. So now he can, you know what I'm saying, in response to any attack on his territory, which the UK and US provided this missile for the Ukraine to use and hit Russia to use in his territory. So now, according to this doctrine, he has rights to retaliate with nuclear warfare. He can do it based on this, right? He can resort to nuclear warfare based on his new doctrine. All right, so we're gonna get into that now. Storm Shadow, I think I just explained the situation. They used they used the British missile and US targeting system, and Russia is Ukraine is, I mean, what's his name, Putin is not very happy about that. All right, so we're gonna I got a video real quick on his warning, his warning. This is very recent. I think this was a few days ago. His warning to UK and US. It says Putin says Russia tested new intermediate range missile in strike on Ukraine. So Ukraine hit Russia, and Russia said, "Bet, let me use this. What I'm saying, this new. Let's test this out. This new technology, this new intermediate range missile, let's strike in Ukraine." But he also says, you know what I'm saying, something else. We're gonna get into it. So this thing is it's gonna be in Russian, but there's subtitles. So I'm gonna stop it and read the subtitles. Right? He says, in response to the use of American and British long-range weapons on the 21st of November this year. So, you know what I'm saying, but 4 days ago, they started bombing Russia using UK and US weaponry, right? The Russian armed forces launched a combined strike on one of the facilities in the Ukraine defense industry. It says here, one of the newest Russian medium-range missile systems. So this is, state-of-the-art state-of-the-art missiles, right? Now, he has his medium-range missiles, but he also has his long-range missiles. He also has access to nuclear missiles. The Russia's arsenal is notoriously is notoriously known for having quite advanced weaponry. So this thing can go south very quickly. Everybody has so much faith in the US military. Everybody has so much faith in UK military. I'll tell you where my faith is. My faith is in the Most High's military. My faith is that this prophecy that is going to come to pass, this prophecy in the Bible about World War III, you know what I'm saying, is going to come to pass, and God's chosen people will prevail. Will prevail, right? That's the military I trust in. The U.S. military, whether it's from Russia or whether it's from, you know what I'm saying, Christ and the angels coming back and bathing these streets with, you know what I'm saying, with blood. God's chosen people will prevail, right? But World War III is inevitable. I know even some people are saying, I think Putin said with regards to World War III, like he's willing to have a sit down with Trump and to see if they can, sort out this whole World War III situation, de-escalate the situation, whatever. Let me tell you right now that isn't, whether he's able to have that conversation with Trump or whatever, if it gets, stayed off for a time, World War III is still going to happen. Whether it happens tomorrow or whether it happens 3 years down the line, it's going to happen, and God's chosen people are going to be freed, right? And let me get this comment right here. The sister Sandra said, so it's okay for him to have North Korean military to help him fight Ukraine. That's correct. That's correct. He has the support of North Korea. He has the support of Iran. He has the support of, different nations that supplying him with weapons and supplying him with, even soldiers. I think North Korean soldiers are currently in Ukraine, in Russia. I think they were part of who was unalived from the Storm Shadows missile, right? So he has the support of North Korea, Iran, and other countries like that. But he's saying US and UK, y'all don't get involved, or this thing is gonna go south. You know what I'm saying? This thing can turn global real quick. I think in one of the articles I read, it said Putin warned that this conflict has the characteristics of a global conflict, meaning he's ready to just let the missiles fly. And we, as I broke down earlier, we know that he's lowered his threshold for nuclear missiles. So these things is getting ready to be set off. All right, let me play on in this video. 1 second. All right here. Okay, so his new missile system was tested in combat conditions, meaning while there's an ongoing conflict, rather than testing it in some field somewhere to see how it works, they testing it live. They don't, ain't no time for, what I'm saying, ain't no time for doing field tests and field studies. Just go ahead and drop the bomb on them Ukrainians. Go ahead and take them out. It's a new weapon, no sweat. Just throw it at them. Throw it at them. Whatever we developing new, just go ahead and throw it at them Ukrainians, unalive them. You know what I'm saying? It's time for just war to happen. All right, and he's also, he's bound to be developing more nuclear weapons because you don't make a threat of, okay, if y'all get involved, I'm gonna use nuclear weapons, and then just stay stagnant. Damn well he's working on continuing to improve and continuing to refine those nuclear weapons to make them stronger, to make them, less detectable, or higher range, to cause more damage. He's working on all them type of weaponry. All right. So he tested, and that is even in his warning, he's talking about how he's testing new weaponry. Right. He worked on this new medium range missile, meaning he has the long range, but he just mentioned in the medium range one now. It's to let UK and US understand that he ain't he ain't stagnant in his military and his development. All right, we're gonna play on. And now he says, in this case, with a ballistic missile. All right, so in this particular instance, the missile we tested was a ballistic missile. All right. In a non-nuclear hypersonic warhead. So in this instance, this missile we tested was non-nuclear. It was a ballistic missile with a non-nuclear hypersonic warhead. Meaning, what he has tucked in his pocket. He has nuclear that he's ready to test, and he's itching to pull the trigger on. You know what I'm saying? We'll play on. And this is going into the new doctrine, right? The new doctrine that we just read, he adopted on the 19th of September, right? So from the 19th of September, he can officially pretty much use nuclear weapons on whatever he deems as a threat to his territory, right? So give me 1 second. I'm going to play on the video. So he says we consider ourselves entitled to use our weapons against, let's see who he's going to use them against military facilities of those countries that allow their weapons, right? So he's saying we are entitled, we have the ability, there ain't nothing holding us back. We consider ourselves entitled to use military, what did he say? To use what is it, nuclear warfare, or what did he say? Let me get to use our weapons, right? We're entitled to use our weapons, which we all know is going to be the nuclear weapons. It's going to eventually be them nuclear weapons against against military facilities of those countries that allow their weapons to be used against our facilities. He's talking directly to the US and the UK, talking directly to, to those people. Because we all know the Storm Shadow happened, in the 21st? So the 19th, he adopted this new nuclear weapons doctrine. On the 21st, they allowed their weapons to be used and it hit Russia. And now he's saying, we consider ourselves fully entitled to use our weapons against the military facilities, against those countries who allowed their weapons to be used against our facilities. So he's very clear in his threat. He's very clear in who he's targeting and who he's referring to. But if there is one thing the oppressor is, it's a hypocrite. As this sister very much, very well pointed out, he is allowed to have the support of Iran, North Korea. He's allowed to have the support of all of the nations, but he will not, he ain't having UK or US getting involved. He ain't having that. He can go south real quick. And then he goes on to say, and in the event of an escalation of aggressive actions, so in the event of this thing, progressing, if it escalates and there's further aggressive action from, who, we will respond decisively and reciprocally, right? We will respond very decisively and we will reciprocate any energy y'all are throwing at us. If y'all want to get involved, no sweat. We can get involved. Let's get involved. Is what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? No sweat. Don't play on. So he says, I recommend that the ruling elites of those countries, and now he's talking directly to the likes of, Joe Biden, Keir Starmer, the current Prime Minister of the UK, and really the elites that are actually running the country. Because we all know the president doesn't run the country. The prime minister runs nothing. There's ruling elites in these countries. So he's talking to those. But, we would see it as, Joe Biden, Keir Starmer, whoever's currently in power, right? He recommends that the ruling elites of those countries that are hatching plans to use their military contingents, meaning they're getting ready to, not only further support Ukraine in their war against Russia, but also, if Russia retaliates, they're going to use their own weapons from the US or from the UK to attack Russia directly. So he's warning against those that are preparing, hatching plans to use those contingents, to use those plans, to use those weapons against, against Russia. All right, against Russia, to seriously think about this. So he's saying, before you think of, starting something, you basically is saying don't start something you can't finish. Don't start nothing you can't finish. This man's putting on his let's put on some bravado. Like he ain't playing. He is not playing about this thing. And it's funny because he's made a lot of warnings in the past, and he hasn't kind of followed through on them. Like he's made warnings and threats in the past, but he hasn't necessarily at the time taken action. But now he's saying, he changed that doctrine on it was planned from September. He's changed it now on the 19th of this month. Now he has the means, he considers himself, and we just heard him say, he considers himself entitled to use his weapons against pretty much anybody who's anything to do in attack against Russia, right? So he very much recommends that the US and the UK seriously think about either continuing to aid Ukraine or, getting involved in the war themselves, right? Now, not only is he getting ready to drop nuclear weapons, but he's been attacking, the UK, he's been attacking the US, he's been attacking other countries with cyber attacks. Russia is very well known to attack through, through cyber attacks and hacking and this sort of thing, right? Now he's also using AI to aid in that, meaning the progression in the type of attacks he's able to do. They're getting more and more sophisticated. They're causing more and more damage. He's, using cyber attacks against all NATO countries, essentially, not only just the UK and the US, in other countries as well. And just recently, somebody named Pat McFadden, right? Pat, which I'm sure is short for Patrick McFadden, some guy in the UK who works in cybersecurity, it's like not cybersecurity, national security, right? So this person works in national security is getting ready to make a speech that Russia is getting ready to increase cyber attacks on, the UK and whoever else who's on his target, who's on his his hit list. All right, so let's go ahead, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a video on that. I'm gonna get into that video and then I'll read the article. All right, so let me get this ready to gonna get this story on the cyber attacks. All right, let me share this video. All right, let's go.
When hackers stole sensitive patient data in a cyber attack on blood testing services in June, the impact reverberated through the NHS in London. Thousands of operations and outpatient appointments were postponed. Russia was...
So when a cyber attack happened in June, so in June of this year, there was already a cyber attack essentially against the NHS, which is for anybody that doesn't know, that's the UK's healthcare system, right? The free healthcare. So there have been attacks on the UK's healthcare system, meaning anybody who's trying to get aid or trying to get help, you no longer, it's disrupting healthcare, right? So we have the ability to do that. I think there's other like telecoms. I think it's going to go on to say different cyber attacks he also, get involved in. But you think of just that small attack on that small like portion of the NHS and the impact that had, the ripple effect that had on the whole NHS. You think about the type of things that he can do with the technology that he has. He can cause absolute mayhem in the streets of, the streets of the UK, the streets of London, Birmingham, Britain, wherever you are in England or in the UK or in other countries. In some instances, he's able to shut off power grids entirely. He's able to just shut off the power in a I don't know what the scale of it, whether it's like a city or a town or even the whole country, but he's able to shut off power grids and cut everybody's lights off. You got no power, you got no, there's, the internet's down, this, down, the third, the communication is down. He has the ability to do these things, and he's getting ready to advance them even further. So you think, this small thing that he did back in June, how much he's developed he's constantly planning these cyber things, right? I think even a few episodes ago, I think it was quite a few episodes ago, the MI5 warned against cyber attacks from Russia. So they know they've been plotting, they've been developing different attacks in different ways to disrupt and cause. I think Putin himself said he's on a mission to cause mayhem in the streets of UK. I think he said that specifically. So he's been developing, So this thing ain't just the NHS that's going to be hit. He's going to attack businesses, just going to disrupt the whole economy. He's going to attack everything. So the UK is too worried about, everything that's going on in their streets. They can't focus on the war or even, having the tax money. The UK is trying to raise their taxes, and now they taxing farmers, people who, historically they wouldn't tax because they contribute to the food in the UK. If we don't have farmers, we have very little food in the UK. The UK is raising taxes for them because they know that they're going to need it for this upcoming war. They're going to need it to use, to advance their AI, to advance their cyber defense system, so they can defend against these attacks. But either way, no matter how much the UK takes from us in tax money, no matter how much, they try to defend against cybersecurity, World War III, it will happen. That's just a fact. That's just prophesied. It is going to happen. You could stave it off for a week, a month, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen whenever the Lord deems fit to free his people. All right, we're going to play on in this video.
blamed, as it has been for targeting the UK's energy infrastructure, its political institutions, the media, telecoms. It means
So he's known for attacking energy systems. He's known for attacking, you know what I'm saying, what to say, political something. Let me run it back a second.
the UK's energy infrastructure, its political institutions.
Political institutions. It says media and telecoms.
The media, telecoms. It means for all President Putin's recent talk of unstoppable missiles and the lowering of the threshold for nuclear weapon use. The unseen threat may well be just as dangerous.
Russia.
So as well as him, you know what I'm saying, threatening to use nuclear warfare, which is very visible, you can see their missiles flying through the sky and getting ready to hit your city. As well as him developing and threatening to use those, there's also unseen attacks that he's doing. Attacks against media, attacks against telecoms, right? Communications, attack against, and you know, like when it comes to war, information is one of the most valuable things. When it comes to war, information is incredibly important. You need as much information on your opponent, your enemy, as possible. So you can attack, you know, telecoms, you can attack communication, he's attacking media, so he's causing, you know what I'm saying, the MI5 is saying he's what's causing, he's kind of behind a lot of the civil unrest that's going on in the UK right now, right? The whole thing between the EDL, the Muslim community, you know what I'm saying, streets and cities was being burned down in the UK not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? And they saying that he has to do with that. You know, he's contributing to that. He's attacking us through media. He's attacking political institutions. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. All right. So this threat of nuclear weapons, that's a very real and, you know what I'm saying, visible factor. There's also the factors of him using cyber attacks, right? The things you can't see. You can't see until all of a sudden your lights are off and there's no electricity. And, you know what I'm saying, and stores can't can't even store their food correctly because there's no electricity, there's no refrigeration. Now there's a food shortage all of a sudden. Like this thing can happen real quickly just from one thing. The knock-on effect is, you know, the things that just turning off electricity in the city can do. Like if you shut off the power grid, you know what I'm saying, this is crazy. There's gonna be chaos in the streets for one, because now everybody's just screw it. Let's go outside. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, the impact that can have damn near immediately is crazy. And then also amidst that, the UK is also getting hit with all these storms and floods. I think Storm Bet is tearing up the UK right now, you know, causing flooding, causing, you know, very strong winds, like gale force winds, and then also causing snow in certain areas. So it's just tearing up the UK in various different ways.
Will do everything in its power to destabilize not only within Ukraine, but amongst the neighbour NATO allies. So we have to be absolutely vigilant in that as a government, but also in businesses and wider society to protect against those cyber hacktivists.
So she says Russia is going to do everything it can to destabilize not only Ukraine, but all, you know what I'm saying, allying NATO countries. We know who supplied the missiles to Ukraine. All right, we know it's definitely gonna come to the UK. So, you know, I'm just getting ready for all my devices to get hacked, for for everything to just get hacked, and this whole thing just to go to hell. But you have to be ready for these things. You know what I'm saying? As best as you can, keep your information secure, but the type of attacks he's gonna send is gonna be beyond you and me. Like he'll attack something that you don't even have no control of. Now all your devices is playing Russian communist music or something. just getting ready is gonna play a soundtrack to bomb the UK. You know what I'm saying? But no sweat. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna do everything he can to attack. She said like what she's just say, businesses. So it's up to businesses and just, you know, as a society being aware of these things and trying to combat them. I think every business is about to go over their cybersecurity, you know what I'm saying, procedures very soon, if they aren't doing it already. Every country is going to revisit their cybersecurity and data protection policies. You can expect the training very soon.
It's that unseen risk that a leading member of the government will emphasise at a NATO conference on Monday. In his speech, Pat McFadden will leave no doubt that the threat is real, that a Russian cyber attack has the power to switch off the lights for millions. But there'll be a warning.
Good, nice. So that lets you know a little bit about the scale of what his attacks can do. It's letting you know that this is a real threat. This is definitely a real threat, and he has the ability to shut off lights, meaning just completely cut off the power for millions. Not thousands, not hundreds, not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, millions of people.
For Vladimir Putin too, that the United Kingdom and others in the room know exactly what Russia are doing and are watching.
And so he's, you know, this Pat McFadden, which is going to make this speech to NATO. He's saying, you know, he's affirming that, you know, the UK, we're keeping eyes on you, Putin. We know exactly what you're doing. You know what he's doing, but can you stop it? Are you able to stop it? Does the Most High want it to be stopped? Will he allow you to stop it? Because we see in the storms the Most High is bringing on the streets of Britain. I think he wants a little bit of chaos. You know what I'm saying? I think he wants our enemies to have a little bit of chaos. You see everything going on. You see storm after storm. You see this, that, and the third. Like, you see, you know, nations fighting against nation in the street, which again is prophesied. I think he wants a bit of chaos. So you see what they're doing, but can you stop it? Do you have the ability to stop Russia? Do you have the ability to stop the Most High? Because the Most High can just make any plan you have fail. You know, he is the ultimate power. He's the ultimate authority. Anything you try, he can just, you know, cause to fail. He can cause Russia to just, you know, have already countermeasures to any countermeasure you have to his hacking. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see. I understand you know, you apparently know exactly what he's doing and you keeping eyes on him. But, you know, what power do you have to stop this thing? I guess we'll see.
He'll also make clear to his audience at Lancaster House that such attacks are being countered both publicly and behind the scenes, although it seems unlikely that'll deter the Russian president.
So he's trying to put on some bravado. You know, he's saying, you know, well, these attacks are being deterred publicly and behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? We're deterring your attacks. Where, you know, you're not gonna get us, Putin. You know, that's the speech he's about getting ready to give to NATO or to those in the Lancaster House or whatever she just said. No sweat. You know, we'll see. I don't think he's gonna deter Russia. I don't think he's batting an eyelid at that. I think he's gonna continue pretty much what he's doing, and this whole thing, you know, we already know it's gonna escalate. The Bible says it's gonna escalate. So we just you know, we just waiting on the time for real. We continue to doing the work of the Lord. We, you know, teaching our people. We're praying and prophesying. We're feeding the poor. You know what I'm saying? We're giving clothes to the needy. We're helping our people. We're healing our people. And we're getting ready for this, you know, this third world war to pop off and this entire kingdom to be destroyed and reduced to rubble. That's what we're waiting on. You know, we're just waiting on the time. Eventually, it will be the time. So for all Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians that, you know, that might be watching, you want to make sure you're ready. You want to contact the ISUPK. You want to know, you know, what are we doing to prepare for this war? Because we know what the Bible says. We know what the Most High has in store for this country, for this people that are ruling the earth right now. You want to get in contact with the school, get in class, fix your life. You know what I'm saying? Heal yourself of all infirmities you have and prepare for this war. Don't wait and don't think, you know, I'll contact the school tomorrow. Let me just smoke this blunt. Don't think, you know, I'll go to the school tomorrow, but tonight we going to the strip club. We going to wherever. Don't think you can, you know, don't think you can play with the Most High like that. You contact the school now. You find the number to the school, contact the school ASAP, and get in class and learn how to be on the Most High's good side. That's where you want to be. You want to not celebrate Christmas this year. That's what you want to do. You want to, instead of celebrating Christmas and spitting in the face of Christ and spitting in the face of, you know what I'm saying, the Most High, you wanna get into school, you wanna celebrate Hanukkah. That's what you want to do. You want to celebrate the Feast of Dedication, which is in the Bible, right? No sweat. We're gonna play on.
I think Putin, who is the head of a very small mafia-like clique running a whole country, is interested in his own personal survival, his own wealth, and that of that group. And he will do what he can to protect himself.
First of all, I just had to pause it because I just didn't like the way he said clique. I don't know why he said clique. But besides the point. That's besides the point. You know what I'm saying? We'll get into what he actually said. So he said, you know, Putin's in charge of this small mafia-like clique, if you was to say it correctly. And you know what I'm saying?
Who is the head of a very small mafia-like clique running a whole country.
That just hurts my ears. I like it. Maybe it's just a personal thing. That just hurt. You know when your oppressor just tries to, like, he just tries to sound cool, or he tries to sound like black people, or he tries to, you know, it's not a good look, bro. It's just, you know, use some good old English. Use the Queen's English, or should I say the King's English? And you know, I don't know, man. So like, let me just play it.
Country is interested in his own personal survival, his own wealth, and that of that group. And he will do what he can to protect himself. And if he thinks that cyber attacks are a way to do that, he will do it, even though it's reckless and dangerous.
The capacity to disrupt has already been seen. It may be a hidden war, but the message is clear. Its potential impact must not be underestimated. Emma Birchley, Sky News, Central London.
All right, what we're going to do now, we're going to move on to get some scriptures. What does the Bible say about this whole thing? All right, let's get some scriptures on this. Give me 1 second. I want to get Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. Let me go ahead and share that on the screen. All right, right here with it. There you go. Matthew 24 and verse 6. This is what Christ says about what will come to pass in the end days. All right. Matthew 24 and verse 6. Matter of fact, let me go into I think there's a few more verses I want on this. Let me go into it. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. This is exactly what you're hearing. This is exactly what you're hearing, and every other news article is about this war that's going to happen. So like, let me drop that. There's this war that's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? There's World War III that's coming. Right? Cyber attacks, missiles, nuclear, changing his doctrine, getting ready to drop. You'll hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right? The Bible says, see that ye be not troubled. Salakia, give me 1 second. Why my thing dropping? Let me check the it just dropped my Chrome for a second. I think we back. All right, no sweat. I'd see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So what you're hearing now that is causing fear in so many people. The Bible says these things must come to pass. You're going to hear these wars and rumors of wars, and also, you know what I'm saying, we're not going to be freed without these things. This destruction has to come. You know, it ain't gonna be no happy clappy rapture, you know, that like the Christians preach. You're gonna hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? So you're gonna hear against famines, pests. Let me read on in the verses, right? The end is not yet. So it ain't gonna be no happy clappy song and a dance where, you know, the sky is gonna crack open and a bright white light is gonna come down and everyone's just gonna float off into the sky. That's not what's gonna happen. All right. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. So you're seeing right now, like if you look in the streets of Britain, all them riots that was going on, nation was rising against nation and kingdom against kingdom. You're seeing, you know, Ukraine against Russia. You're seeing that they're the same nation, they're the same people, but they're different kingdoms. You're seeing now US and UK getting involved and Russia fighting back. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So there's going to be famines and pestilences. You know what I'm saying? When he's getting ready to shut off the power grid, there's definitely going to be famines. There's famines already because of the cost of living crisis and the food shortage that's already going on in the UK. Imagine when there's, even more pressure. There's war going on. There's going to be famines and pestilences and earthquakes. You see, earthquakes happening in diverse places. You see all these natural disasters, all these storms. There's increasing and increasing, and happening very frequently, right? It says in verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So these are the beginning of sorrows, right? This ain't gonna be no happy clappy song and a dance. It's gonna be a terrible time. It ain't gonna be fun. But this thing must happen for you to be freed, for Blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians to be freed from our oppression. All right. Now let me another thing about the nuclear warfare, like and just for anybody who doesn't believe that the Bible prophesies about nuclear warfare, let me break this down for you. In Zechariah, you get Zechariah 14 and verse 2. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. So the same way in Egypt, when the Egyptians had God's chosen people in captivity and slavery, the same way your oppressor today has had our people in slavery, the Most High smote them with all sorts of different plagues, unalived their firstborn, had them have boils and sores, frogs and locusts that consumed all their food. The same way the Most High punished Pharaoh for having his people, his chosen people, in captivity and abusing his power, the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. We're going to smite every oppressor, every nation that's had a part to play in our oppression. You know what I'm saying? The so-called African, the Hamites for selling us into slavery, the so-called white man for enslaving us and abusing us and unaliving us by the droves to this day and destroying the minds of our people, taking away our identity, our history, our language. The so-called Arab man with the sub-Saharan slave trade, all the people that fought against Jerusalem. It says, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. Meaning this right here is nuclear warfare. You ever heard about, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where the bombs dropped and you can see today like shadows. It's the if you look up Hiroshima, was it war shadows? You could see shadows of where a girl was jumping rope, playing she was skipping, having a good old time. She's jumping in the air, and while she's jumping in the air, jumping over the rope, them bombs dropped and it burned everything. Like it just destroyed everything so fast that it cast an ash shadow on the wall. And you can see that to this day. This right here, it says, your flesh shall consume away while you stand on your feet. While you're stood up, you just get burned so quickly, like in Terminator. Like she hanging on the fence, and just flesh gets burnt away in an instant. You know what I'm saying? And their eyes shall consume away in their holes. Like your eyes just get burnt because your eyes have less structural integrity than the rest of your body. They get consumed away in their holes. And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. You know what I'm saying? Anything flesh just gets burned away until either you're just left with bones or you're left with absolutely nothing. I don't think bones can withstand nuclear warfare neither. I don't think there was any bones left from them, that little girl who got turned into a shadow. Everyone talks about getting put on a shirt. That little girl that, she got put on a wall. That's the fate that these nations have in store for them. Because they fought against Jerusalem, because of the oppression that they did against God's chosen people. That's the fate that they have in store. All right. Now, last but not least, let's get into this article about these cyber threats, right? So this is the Pat McFadden. This is the person that's set to speak at NATO. All right, let me make sure this thing is sharing. Keep dropping my Chrome for some reason. It's always something. All right, no sweat. Let's get into it. All right. Russia aggressive and reckless in cyber realm and threats to NATO. UK minister to warn. All right. Let's get into it. So it says Russia is exceptionally aggressive and reckless in the cyber realm, and no one should underestimate the threat to NATO. And it's like no one should underestimate the threat to NATO. A senior UK minister will warn in a speech on Monday. As I think this is set to happen today. He's having that speech as either he's already had it this morning or he's having it as we speak. You know what I'm saying? Pat McFadden, whose portfolio includes national security, so this is somebody who works in national security, will tell a NATO cybersecurity conference in London that Moscow, being Russia, won't think twice about targeting British businesses, according to excerpts of his address released on Sunday by his ministry. He will also note that unofficial hacktivists giving impunity by the Kremlin are committing increasingly frequent and in some cases increasingly sophisticated attacks around the world. So not only does he have his own team that'll be working on these cyber attacks, but anybody who wants to get involved, who wants to be on Russia's side, any citizens that knows anything about hacking, they've been given impunity, meaning y'all just go ahead and attack Britain, attack anybody you want. You've been given essentially immunity, right? And these attacks are becoming increasingly sophisticated. Okay, that includes the recent targeting of South Korea in response to its monitoring of the deployment of North Korean troops to Russia. So as the sister said, North Korean troops were being deployed in Russia and South Korea were monitoring them. And then Russia attacked South Korea and stopped them from monitoring them, right? Didn't allow them to keep tabs on these troops, right? The accusations come as tensions between Russia and the West have escalated dramatically, very dramatically, with Vladimir Putin warning that the war in Ukraine has the characteristics of a global conflict. This is World War III. It's on the horizon. All right. The growing frictions have sparked fresh unease in London and other Western capitals that Putin may step up cyber attacks and other non-military measures. All right. It says, given the scale of that hostility, my message to members today is clear. No one should underestimate the Russian cyber threat to NATO, McFadden will say in a speech to NATO cyber defense, noting that the threat is real. In the last year, both the Russian military and its unofficial army of cyber criminals and hacktivists have not just stepped up their attacks, but have widened their targets to a number of NATO members and partners. Right, so not only have their attacks become more sophisticated, more severe, but they've widened their attacks to target, now they're targeting the likes of, France, Germany, I'm saying anybody, Berlin is Germany. What's another one? Like Belgium. They'll attack anybody who's a part of NATO. I'm saying y'all are on the target list. You know what I'm saying? McFadden will warn that Russia has previously targeted the UK's media, our telecoms, our political and democratic institutions, and our energy infrastructure. He is set to say that Russian state-aligned groups have taken responsibility for at least 9 separate cyber attacks of varying severity against NATO states. So far, they're saying at least 9 cyber attacks, and that will be, the kind of more major attacks that have an impact and that get through. You can guarantee there's far more attacks that were attempted, maybe didn't get through, or were at low levels that they weren't really considered, notable, right? But they still cause an impact. They include unprovoked attacks against our critical national infrastructure, right? For example, we saw in that video the NHS, right, which is critical to the UK's infrastructure. That's the healthcare. Anybody who needs any help, any medical attention. But if that gets attacked, then now your old dying grandpa who has some medical condition can't receive any treatment. The children that are being born, I'm saying, everything goes on. The knock-on effect that has is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, we show on the time, so I'm just kind of skim through what he's saying. It says, highlighting Russia's use of cyber attacks over the course of its nearly 3-year war on Ukraine, he will note that the tactics can turn the lights off for millions of people. It can shut down the power grids, right? This is the hidden war that Russia is waging with Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? But then he's saying, they'll continue to counter their attacks publicly and behind the scenes, and they're watching Russia, and they apparently know exactly what they're doing, which is a lie. there's no way that the UK know exactly what Russia is doing. But they, they're keeping tabs on the situation. But as I said earlier, will they be able to stop it? We just waiting on World War III at this point. At this point, it's just, it's a ticking clock. And we're just waiting for that, we're waiting for the bumps to drop. You know what I'm saying? It will eventually. So make sure while you still have the chance, you contact the school, get into the school and change your life. All right. With that, make sure you'll tune in, on the ISUPK United Kingdom YouTube and Facebook for tonight's Monday law class. Taught by either Officer 50 Aria Allah or Mawasar. Make sure you'll tune in. Also, for this show, again, I do this show every Monday and every Thursday from 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. UK time. So right before the classes. So I'll see y'all again like 6 p.m. on Thursday. And with that, again, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Barakatam to all the brothers, and Yahweh Shema Alatan Bashim Yahushai to all the sisters. All right, let's go ahead and clap it up. For y'all for tuning in. Again, make sure y'all follow the page. And with that, we out.
Let's get it. I just float with it. Fuck what you did, I'm at your throat with it. You can learn something, take a note with it. Dedicated my life, I took an oath with it. For the blood of my brothers, we don't do no switching. I run with who I run with, ain't no clicking. Try me, do you done with no decision. Lead a scene like a Mack truck with 4 collisions. Poles everywhere, but they ain't gon' vote dissing. Coming at you live and direct, I don't do no dissing.